250 episodes. Man, that's not luck. That's not hype. That's not accidental. And that's consistency. So when I came up with this episode, I kind of wrote it to everybody out there, but I also wrote it to myself. And one of the things that I wanted to ask myself is if I went back and talked to the version of myself that bought my first shop, or when I started coaching, or when I decided to go all in, would that person recognize me today? Not just the revenue, not just the buildings, not just the brands. Would that person recognize the mindset? And here's what I want you to think about in episode 250. Episode 250 is about not what you built, but what you had to become to build it. I started in the early 90s. I've been doing this almost 35 years. Back then, if you wanted a job, you went to the newspaper and you got it. So I actually got this job out of the newspaper. Some of you will remember what that's like. But I started my first service advisor, mainly tire sales experience, out of a newspaper ad for $6.50 an hour, working 6 days a week, like a sled dog, like a sled dog. Like, I know some of you people think you work now, but man, that was different times back then. So that's where I started. And look at me now. But I want you to think about, where you're at now. A lot of times we celebrate numbers, 250 episodes, millions in revenue across all the shops, all the years, multiple locations, new ventures, but numbers are lagging indicators, right? The real story is the identity. The real story is the person who owns one struggling bay, doubts themselves, reacts emotionally, and takes everything personally. That person is not the same person who leads teams, makes hard decisions, designs businesses to sell, demands no excuses, and thinks in processes and systems. And growth isn't about scale, it's about evolution. And really nobody talks about the hard truth about growth, right? You cannot build a bigger business with a smaller mindset. You cannot demand excellence from your team if you tolerate mediocrity from yourself. You cannot preach structure while operating in chaos. And at some point, every serious operator has to make a decision. Am I building this business, or is this business building me? And if you're doing it right, I think it's both.
You didn't start a repair shop just for it to be an average business. So why does your shop's marketing look like every other shop's? At Shop Marketing Pros, we create custom websites and digital ads. We do search engine optimization and social media marketing that's actually customized to your shop, not templated. Stop waiting for your shop to rise above the competition by chance and book your discovery call at shopmarketingpros.com, because top-tier shops deserve top-tier marketing.
So, let's get uncomfortable for a second. To get where you are today, certain versions of yourself had to go. The version that avoided hard conversations, the version that needed to be liked, the version that blamed circumstances, the version that worked in the shop but never on the shop, the version that thought hustle was enough. Apparently, every episode I have one word that gives me trouble in today's version. Sorry about that. But here's the thing. There is another version of you that still needs to go, because the operator who gets you to 3 million is not the operator who gets you to 6 million. The operator that gets you to $500,000 in sales is not the operator that gets you to $1 million a year in sales. The mindset that builds one location is not the mindset that builds 3. Growth demands evolution. Really quick pause here. If you're serious about becoming the kind of operator who builds enterprise value, marketing cannot be random. Predictability builds confidence, confidence builds teams, and teams build valuation. Our friends at Shop Marketing Pros help independent repair shops create consistent branding, traffic, and positioning. Serious operators build serious marketing systems. I want you to go check them out and tell them Chris Cotton sent you. Let's keep building. So here's a shift that happens around milestone moments. And the mindset I want you to think about right now is the operator versus the owner. whenever this mind shift happens, you stop thinking like a technician owner. You start thinking like an architect. Operators solve daily problems, they manage personalities, and they fight fires. Owners, what they do is they design structure, they build leadership layers, they think 3 to 5 years ahead, they create exit strategies. Episode 248 was about building to sell. Episode 249 was about no excuses. Episode 250 is about identity, because systems don't scale until the leader scales. So when I was thinking about what does episode 250 represent, it represents consistency. You don't accidentally record 250 episodes. You don't accidentally lead teams for decades. You don't accidentally survive recessions, shortages, staffing crises, consolidation waves, and COVID. You evolve. And here's something that I've learned. The longer you stay in the game, the less emotional you become and the more strategic you become, the calmer you become. Early in business, everything feels urgent. Gosh, this just brought up a saying that I hear often about the longer you stay in the game. Beware of the old soldier in the room. He's an old soldier or she's an old soldier for a reason, right? The more strategic you become, the older you get, the calmer you become, the older you get. So later in business, you realize most problems are survivable. Most setbacks are temporary. Most chaos is correctable. And experience creates stability, and stability creates confidence. So when you've been in the industry as long as I have, you carry something different, right? You carry perspective, and perspective creates responsibility. You're not just building shops anymore. You're influencing other operators. You're shaping culture. You're helping others avoid mistakes you made. Milestones aren't about ego. They're about impact. And so right now, if you're one of the old soldiers in the business, I'm going to challenge you, kind of like my friend Brian Walker did. It's up to us to mentor the next group, to bring somebody along. You go to a meeting like Vision, you may not learn as much as you did 15 years ago, but you have a lot to share. Okay. Everything you do has impact in the industry. Everything you do has a ripple effect. So here's the challenge for everyone listening. I want you to stop and write this down. Who did I have to become to get where I am today? And then I want you to write this down. Who do I need to become to get where I'm going? The second answer is where the work is, because comfort is the enemy of scale. All right. Not big celebrator guy. Episode 250 isn't about celebration. It's about evolution. It's about recognizing that the shop didn't grow by accident. Revenue didn't grow by accident. Leadership didn't grow by accident. I changed, you changed, and the next level requires another change, because the ceiling of your business will always be the ceiling of your leadership. Raise the leader, raise the business. I want to thank you being here for 250 episodes of the Weekly Blitz. I'm going to get a shout out to those in Barbados that are listening to us. We had a great conversation last week. I see the reports from all around the world where people are listening, and I see Barbados, Australia, and I just think somebody just made a mistake. But I really know there's people out there in other countries listening, and a big shout out to them. I want you to, if this episode made you reflect a little deeper, that's the point. I want you to share it with another operator who's leveling up right now. Huge shout out to the Automotive Repair Podcast Network. I'm proud to be part of a network that pushes the aftermarket industry forward every single week. I need you to keep evolving. I need you to keep building. I need you to keep becoming. And remember, it's not just about what you build. It's about who you have to become to build it. See you in episode 251. Remember, rise and grind, everybody. Have a great day.